It's the news. We've got some breaking news on a major environmental cover-up. Also, a large group of migrants are on a trek toward the southern U.S. border. Plus, updates on the Khashoggi case, the administration's controversial plans to strictly define gender, and more news. From WHIP, I'm Tony Pearson, and this is your WHIP Weekly News Crackdown. Surprise! For the past 14 years, an enormous oil leak has been plaguing the Gulf of Mexico near Louisiana. The Washington Post reported that the oil spill began in 2004 when an oil platform belonging to Taylor Energy suffered damage from Hurricane Ivan and sank. The spill went unnoticed by the public until the Louisiana Environmental Action Network, or LEAN, began conducting aerial surveillance of the infamous Deepwater Horizon spill in 2010. During the process, they noticed an additional unexpected oil slick. Turns out, Taylor Energy never capped the wells that were damaged during the 2004 hurricane, and they kept the whole incident quiet, likely in order to protect their reputation. 14 years later, about 150 million gallons have leaked into the Gulf, putting the disaster just shy of the Deepwater Horizon spill. LEAN, along with other Louisiana-based environmental activism groups, filed a lawsuit against Taylor Energy in 2012, which was settled in 2015. Taylor Energy claimed that they were compliant with U.S. Coast Guard regulations and that there was no evidence to suggest an ongoing leak at the time. Taylor Energy estimates the spill, which is still happening, is only leaking 55 barrels per day, but an independent study concluded the spill is actually leaking 700 barrels per day, or 29,000 gallons. Again, this is still happening. Oops. A caravan of mainly Honduran migrants formed last week in northern Honduras in hopes of making it through Mexico and into the United States. Many are reportedly fleeing violence and poverty caused by rampant corruption in their home country. As of Monday, the group had grown to about 7,200 migrants, with about 2,000 of them crossing a bridge from Guatemala into Mexico over the weekend. Mexican authorities rounded up people, mainly women, children, and the elderly, to be sent to refugee camps. The caravan is still 1,000 miles away from the closest U.S. port of entry in Texas. However, President Trump has already issued threats aimed at deterring the group. On Thursday, he warned the U.S. would suspend foreign aid to El Salvador, Guatemala, and Honduras if they did nothing to stop the migrant group. He also threatened to completely close the United States southern border if the group makes it safely through Mexico. Updating our coverage from last week, Turkish President Recep Erdogan released the latest information into the disappearance of Saudi Arabian journalist Jamal Khashoggi. As of Tuesday, October 23rd, he has reason to believe that the killing of Khashoggi was a planned murder and called for the extradition of the Saudi suspects to stand trial for the murder. According to the Washington Post, President Erdogan did not explicitly blame the Saudi government for its hand in the murder, but claimed that their investigation is not reaching a good enough conclusion. On Tuesday, October 23rd, the Philadelphia office of LGBT Affairs, the Trans Equity Project, and the ACLU held a rally at Love Park from 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. This rally was held to protest the Trump administration's attempt to replace transgender, non-binary, and intersex identities with a narrow definition of gender. On Sunday, the New York Times reported the administration is considering defining gender as a, quote, biological immutable condition determined by genitalia at birth. This contradicts the academic consensus on gender, which is defined by the American Psychology Association as a social construct, which, unlike biological sex, differs across various cultures. The Department of Health and Human Services is working to establish a legal definition of sex under Title IX. For reference, Title IX is the federal civil rights law that bans gender discrimination in education programs that receive government financial assistance. On Monday, October 22nd, the city opened a new plaza built around the monument to 6 million Jewish martyrs. The sculpture was created by Nathan Rappaport and has stood on the site opposite City Hall since 1964. The plaza combines physical exhibits of items from the Holocaust and mobile app technology to allow visitors to hear testimonies from survivors on their smartphones. Included are train tracks from the Treblinka camp in Nazi-occupied Poland, which have been embedded in the pavement. The Philadelphia Holocaust Remembrance Foundation built this new space and created an endowment for its maintenance at a total cost of $13 million. And that's all the time we have for today. Join us next week for more of the news you care about, now with a new format that covers campus news. Check it out next week. It's going to be cool. From WHIP News, I'm Tony Pearson, and this has been your WHIP Weekly News Crackdown. Whew. Fancy. Not next time, though.